This is the one where they'll die and I'll get arrested.
Yeah.
Both things. They'll die and then get arrested.
And get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't heard at all about the jail for Cape Ghosts. Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
And this time we read Buzz 7.8.
Yeah, more Buzz.
Yeah, kind of a Buzz Saw situation going on here.
Ooh, yes. Excellent
Yeah, it was
point.
an exciting action chapter. We got to see powers pitted against powers and some fun interactions. Do you want to tell us what happened in it?
I would love to.
Ah, great.
We last left Skitter in a somewhat tricky situation.
Yeah.
She and Grue and some Coil folk were traveling in an ambulance that got derailed, so to speak, by Storm Tiger, Hookwolf, and Cricket. And we kind of learned right away that Empire 88 was here because they don't want to get hemmed in by the authorities, so they're attacking the blockade that our team had just come through. And Storm Tiger is basically like, I can smell all of them. There's the Bug Girl. There's the two other, paramedic types. And Darkness Boy must have left because I can't smell him. And Skitter, of course, is like, interesting. I know because of my bug sense that Brian hasn't run away.
Yeah.
Grue is still here. And Hookwolf is like, where's bitch? She's not around. And Taylor basically tells them the truth. Like, hey, we're not looking for a fight. We're trying to back off, lay low. And they basically ignore her in favor of trying to chase down the rest of her crew. While they're talking, one of the quote-unquote paramedics tries to shoot Storm Tiger and Hookwolf, but that's not effective against either of them. And Cricket takes out Coil's soldier, wounding her pretty seriously with some scythe-like weapons. And Taylor starts to think, like, okay, I don't really have any options against these guys. I can kind of tell that Grue is working on something, but I don't know what it is. So maybe I can stall. Hookwolf starts to put together, hey, this so-called ambulance driver was like a really good shot. That seems weird. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a connection to Coil here, which Taylor doesn't acknowledge. So then Hookwolf says, hey, Storm Tiger and I, we like hurting people. We like violent interrogations. So maybe it's time to do that. And starts going into some detail about how bad that's going to be. And Taylor sees Grue making a move. He's running forward. He's throwing something, a big oblong shape out. Taylor starts to run away, and Grue shoots once, twice, and blows up an oxygen tank from the ambulance, doing a lot of damage to Hookwolf and Storm Tiger, who were caught in the center of the blast. Storm Tiger, at this point, gets taken out of the fight for the rest of the chapter. Grue runs up quickly, shooting Storm Tiger in both legs. Hookwolf, though, we get this very visceral description of how badly damaged he was by the explosion, but beneath his flesh is just metal, hooks and knives and blades. So he ends up losing his arm, kind of, and then it immediately regrows into a giant arm with a fishhook on the end. So that kind of damage, you can't shoot him, you can't blow him up with an oxygen tank. He just seems to bounce back from that pretty quickly. And we have a little bit of a showdown between Grue and Skitter versus Cricket and Hookwolf. And at first, the Undersiders are just running away. In Grue's darkness, Hookwolf has basically no way of finding them. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Cricket does. Mm-hmm. Taylor pretty quickly realizes that Cricket is making some kind of subsonic noise with her power, chirping, if you will, in a way that acts as radar, like echolocation radar. So she is able to find both Skitter and Grue within Grue's darkness pretty easily. And she also has some kind of limited precognition or enhanced reflexes or something, so that even though Grue can see Cricket perfectly well, is shooting at her, she's able to dodge a direct shot from even like 10 feet, 7 feet away because of her power. So she's able to get up close and hit Grue with her scythes, hit Taylor as well. At this point, Hookwolf kind of retreats from the battle. He doesn't have a way to see through the darkness, so he tries to kind of get up to higher ground. And again, we don't really see him again in the fight.
Yeah, he's presumably still trying to fight them, but he can't find them.
Right. And Cricket manages to get some really good hits in on Grue and Taylor, but finally between the two of them, they're able to get up close. Taylor gets her knife in Cricket's thigh and really drags it through her leg, which takes her out of the fight in a pretty gory way. And they finally have a moment to breathe. They immediately start debriefing about the damage that's been done. Taylor's taken some bad hits, but her costume protected her. Brian isn't so lucky. He has some cuts in his chest. Brian says, honestly, she could have done more damage if she was trying to fight to kill, but her training is that of like a show fighter, so she probably developed her style in a way that was not maximally lethal, and lucky me. So they realize that, you know, now they finally have a chance to escape, and they're able to escape, seeing that both of Coil's soldiers are retreating back towards the barricade. So as Grue and Skitter retreat, they talk a little bit about their theories on Cricket's powers, and they meet up with the other Undersiders at a boarded-up old church. There's a quick debrief session about the fight that just happened. Purity is still on the move, though she's not in this immediate area. And Taylor says to Brian, hey, it's my turn to patch you up. Let's fix you up. You've lost a lot of blood. They start to talk about next steps. Brian is suggesting we'll do a campaign of guerrilla strikes. And Lisa's like, I've got a better idea. One, you've lost so much blood. We need to end this fast. Like, if you go out there and exert yourself, you're just going to pass out. So, like, we can't really count on you doing a long fight. And also, Purity is so tough, she's going to blow up the neighborhood. We just don't have any time. We have to go straight for Purity.
Wild.
And they're like, I don't know about that, Lisa, but she claims to have a plan and is going to tell them the plan while Taylor stitches up Brian. And that's where we end the chapter.
Once again, we don't hear the plan. We might hear the plan at the beginning of the next chapter, but probably we won't, so that we can just see it in action.
Great observation.
Which, again, doesn't mean the plan will go perfectly, but we've seen a lot of instances of this where the Undersiders concoct a plan and then we get to watch it play out without having been told what the plan is. It's a style that seems to work really well for Wildbow because he comes up with really fun plans, and it's really fun to watch them play out.
I do wonder
live.
Also, like, obviously he has a sense of what it is in advance, but I wonder how much his process is putting them into the situations and then seeing exactly how it plays out in the course of writing. And it's not that Wildbow can't write a planning scene. We've had some good planning scenes. It's just, you know, if
Why
part of
would
the
he
fun
when
of
we
it.
get to watch it?
Right,
exactly.
Right. It's part of the fun of it for us and for him, perhaps.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, did you enjoy the power interactions in this one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying to see them, again, really well calibrated. Like, it's not the full team. It's only Skitter and Grue. And once again, Taylor finds herself facing a bunch of people that she's more or less useless against. So we get to see her resourcefulness, what she does, you know, and it's not like she's the one who ends up taking Cricket out, but it's just by managing to get up close to her, take a few hits, and get her with the knife, right? Like, it's not a power-based strategy in this chapter.
Right, but her powers are crucial to a lot that she does in this chapter. I mean, basically everything she does, because they let her see in Brian's darkness.
Yes.
They let her track
of
all of the participants. They let her figure out at least some of Cricket's powers, the radar bit, because she feels her bugs getting affected by it.
Right, and the fact that it's... Right, she feels them getting affected, so she can sense the kind of speed of sound effect of it. Brian later is like, what was the deal with her power? And Taylor says it was subsonic, right? So presumably
The bugs could sense it, but
the bugs
Taylor
could sense
can't.
it, but actually Taylor and Brian can't.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, because Taylor was saying she should have been able to hear it. But I guess it was, like, somehow it wasn't, like, Brian's darkness couldn't affect it.
Yeah.
But also her powers are what lets her stab Cricket in the end, because she can find her because of her powers.
Of course. And that's
So
the
she doesn't-
synergy between Brian's darkness and Taylor's
Which we
abilities.
see here for the first time in, like, really in full. I don't think we've seen another instance of Taylor so easily navigating Brian's darkness. It feels
That's a great point. I may be underrating this display of power synergy because I'm like, yeah,
No,
of
but it
course
is
Skitter
true
can hide in
that
Grue's
she's-
darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true that she doesn't have... Her bugs don't give her offensive ability against the enemy, except insofar as they let her find the enemy.
Right.
And they definitely give her a lot of defensive abilities. It's why she was able to escape from the oxygen tank blast, because she saw it coming. She saw that he was, like, hoisting this canister and was like, oh, crap, and starts crawling away. And the villains are kind of laughing at her, like, oh, sure, you can try to run. And she's like, just try to get as much distance as possible. And then they get caught in this explosion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also true, like, Grue and Skitter are so outclassed here in terms of offensive power.
Right.
Like, Hookwolf alone,
Right.
he's just a fighting machine.
Right. If they didn't have a way to hide, this is where Grue comes in.
Yeah.
They would just be destroyed.
Yeah.
And we have, again, this beat of, like, at the beginning, if Hookwolf is just here going on a killing spree, then Taylor dies, right? Like, I don't think there's anything that she could have done.
He would have just killed her, yeah.
Right. It's just that she's so much not a threat, right?
Right. If she'd had more obvious offensive power.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we'll interrogate her.
Exactly.
Hookwolf seems to be, like, mostly motivated by, like, oh, the Undersiders are here. That means I get to face down, bitch. Like, that's the one he's excited about.
But he's also gleefully sadistic about interrogating Taylor, so additional motivation.
Right. But yeah, just once again, she's underestimated.
Yes,
right? It's the same, like Leung had the chance to fireball her, and instead he picks her up. Right. Like, they
her being
they haven't learned yet.
Yeah. Her being, like, a small person without a lot of combat skills and not having an obvious offensive power, especially against people who aren't really affected by bugs, a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And also, Grue's darkness, it's almost like, you were saying it lets them hide. It's like having, like, I'm thinking of them in some sort of, like, castle under siege, except it's mobile and flexible. Like, it's not that people can't get into Grue's darkness, but if they do, I mean, they're powerless.
Right.
Except that in this chapter, we actually saw 2 different supervillains with 3 total ways of defeating Grue's darkness. Storm Tiger, good thing Storm Tiger was taken out by that explosion, because he could both dispel the darkness with his air powers, and he could also smell things through the darkness.
Right. Which is good against everyone except
Grue. Who doesn't have a scent. That was great. I was so delighted to see that come back.
It was so funny because I guess we knew it, but this is when
Taylor
learns
because it was in an
But
interlude.
She doesn't actually return to it, so maybe she just kind of
Right, she's like, he can't smell Grue for some reason.
Yeah,
she
really
probably
fun
thought
beat.
it was just an effect of his power while he was using it.
Yeah.
But it is apparently just always true of him, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
But then we also have Cricket, who can use this radar that is not somehow affected by Grue's sensory dampening darkness. Yeah, real powerful combination of things. Because Grue can't be smelled, I think that was what allowed him to get close enough, because Storm Tiger did smell the gun oil on Grue's gun, but he didn't know it was Grue. He didn't really know what was going on. And so he gets to take Storm Tiger out. And
that is, again, the information battle about what the opponents can do, right? Mm-hmm. Storm Tiger acts as like, oh, well, I similar to Skitter, I can sense everybody around us. So I'm going to be the one who's reporting, like, what's the state of play on the battlefield. And they don't know about Brian's ability to get around that. And so that means he gets the advantage. And then similarly, Taylor has this moment when she's like, what are Cricket's powers? I have done some research and, like, nobody's written down on Parahumans Online that she can do all this stuff. So that she's, like, working really hard to figure out in the moment.
When she does figure out at least some of them, is able to shout to Brian that it's radar, which Brian can hear and no one else can hear. I mean, I don't know if it matters that Cricket can hear that or not, but...
Brian later, when they're debriefing, is like, Wow. I guess this is why it's good that we have Tattletale in our team.
He says this makes it worth it. And I was like, whoa. Is there more beef between them than I thought? Or
I just feel like
kind of think Tattletale's annoying or like dead weight?
I just think he doesn't see her obvious value. Like, I think he probably thinks of her as like, oh, she's not a fighter. She's not a, like she doesn't contribute to that side of things.
Which is funny because most of his contributing value is not in fighting, it's in obscuring.
Well,
and I guess hers is in knowledge. Kind of opposite.
But he's got the
he is a fighter.
The
though,
martial arts training.
Yeah.
He's and he has to be able to quickly take people out from behind the cover of darkness. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so Grue got opposed very effectively by some of these powers. And then so did Taylor, so did Skitter, where Storm Tiger can kind of blow away her bugs. Hookwolf just isn't really susceptible to her bugs because he's like not really flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
His insides are made of metal.
For some reason, that was counterintuitive to me in a way that like, the fact that you have people who can turn into fog, I'm like, whatever. I think the fact that he doesn't have, I guess he does sort of have a human body sometimes, but like that his body is just like not flesh and blood. I'm like, how does he even exist? How is he a person? For some reason, that one goes past my suspension of disbelief in a way where I'm like, but wait.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I feel like there are a bunch of ways that it could work and we don't have enough detail. Because Taylor observes is just like when he is shot and when his arm gets blown up, there's metal underneath in the shape of like musculature. Yeah. But it's like, does he have a metal core? Does he have a metal shell? Is it a thing that he activates? And,
maybe when he's not using his powers, he does have a human body made of flesh and blood.
Can he turn his body to metal and then manipulate it and then turn it back? Like there are a bunch of ways it could work.
The thing is, we've already seen that these powers do not in any way obey the laws of physics or biology or science in general. So there's no reason I should be skeptical of this one more than any others, but like there's something just so like gut level, like weird about a human whose insides are just like shifting metal weapons.
Yeah. I want to read just that bit.
Yeah.
It's some great body horror.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Hookwolf staggered to his feet. He'd taken more damage from the blast than anyone, and his skin hung off in tatters around the arm he hadn't yet transformed. Most of the trunk of his body and his thigh, with lesser damage over the surrounding area. Beneath the tatters of skin, as I'd seen with the bullet wound, there was only blood-slick bands and blades of metal, hooks and knives all laid side by side in the general shape of human musculature. Hookwolf thrust his damaged arm out to one side, and the muscles unhinged like a Swiss Army knife, revealing still more blades and hooks that unfolded, swelled, and overlapped to cover and patch the injured area. His arm grew with the use of his power, and the resulting limb was 3 times the normal size, ending in what looked like a 2-foot-long fishhook.
This is clearly someone who is just choosing to have a human-looking body, kind of out of convenience, convention, like maybe that's the easiest thing for him to operate. So I think when we first saw him in this scene...
Yeah, last chapter, he was just in like a wolf shape.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, so he doesn't have to be human. He's just kind of choosing it. And actually, Storm Tiger also, so his claws are compressed air, it turns out. Which means that he could also do anything, but has chosen this sort of tigerish form. Right. These aesthetic choices.
Yeah, and that's something that I misread in the last chapter. Yeah, and they talk in detail about how he, with his air manipulation ability, compresses the air into the shape of claws. And then this is where they get into the interrogation technique. The sort of like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if I impale you on one of these claws and then release all of that compressed air at once as a vicious attack, which thankfully we don't get to see on screen.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have gone well for Skitter. Nope. Yeah. So Cricket is not impenetrable to the bugs in the same way. She does have enhanced reflexes, we already said that, but her radar, the sort of subsonic waves she puts out, seem to, not immediately, but if she does it constantly, take the bugs out of commission. Yeah. So we have, again, multiple ways of making Taylor's bugs not effective. Yeah. And it's so fun to have these 3 villains who are unusually well suited to facing Skitter and Grue.
Right.
facing only them, and yet Skitter and Grue make it work.
Yeah.
So satisfying.
Yeah.
And especially, they really had no way of defeating Hookwolf, but they were able to, get him in the darkness and take out his teammate who could get rid of the darkness, and then he just couldn't fight them.
Right.
So satisfying.
Yeah. And it's nice that the battle basically lasts long enough just for them to retreat. It is satisfying that they get through it, but they basically just run away.
Yeah.
Probably...
Well, they take out 2 of the 3,
right.
Really incapacitated leg-wise.
Right.
Really harsh on legs in this chapter.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
It's only Hookwolf who's still active.
And there's sort of no reason to think that they're going to be able to recover from that anytime soon. So...
Yeah. Can I read the description of what happens to Cricket? It was, whew.
Yeah.
So, Skitter has already stabbed her with a knife in the leg, in the thigh. She says, I twisted the knife and pulled it out of her leg with a 2-handed grip. Or, to rephrase, I pulled the knife through her leg, dragging it horizontally through the meat of her thigh toward her hip and out. She just, cut through her thigh muscle. All of it, most of it, that is a serious injury. That's gonna take some major recovery.
Yeah. It just goes on the pile of grievous injury, brutal injury.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not even saying it's not justified in this kind of fight to the death situation, but previously...
It is viscerally
yeah.
horrible, yeah.
Right. She doesn't need to really rationalize it. But, you do wonder, Cricket's not going to be going to Panacea to get patched up.
No. Cricket's going to be...
Right.
Yeah,
so,
suffering.
Yeah. This is something that we haven't seen a lot. Other than Panacea, we haven't seen a lot of
people
healing.
Who can heal other people. Well, that's why Panacea is so screwed,
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's a real burden. So I feel like Grue and Skitter did a lot of really resourceful things with their power, with their slight edge in, their knowledge advantage. They also, I feel like, really brought some complementary strengths, or maybe Grue brought some strengths that Taylor wouldn't have had to the battle.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like, so the scene when Grue first blows up the oxygen canister, immediately afterwards, so he shoots Storm Tiger's legs, which just right off the bat is a very cold-blooded, sort of like Skitter taking out Loon's eyes, harsh, but a way to take someone out of a combat situation.
Also what Skitter does to Cricket.
Oh, yeah. So Grue does that immediately. Can't do the same to Hookwolf, but what happens next is that...
Oh, I totally forgot to say this in the summary.
Yeah,
I
so
skimmed over it.
Cricket has... The woman who was one of the soldiers who dressed as a paramedic, Cricket had stabbed her with scythes and then pulled them out. So this woman is suffering. And Grue comes with darkness and explosion, and Cricket wasn't caught in the explosion. And so she has this woman, she's making a threat. She's lowering a scythe toward her. She's I'm going to, and then Grue just blankets the whole thing in darkness.
Yeah.
So he can't hear the threat, he can't see it. Presumably if Cricket wanted to stab this woman in the darkness, she could probably do it. She has her radar, which I don't think they knew yet, but she's close to the woman, she could just kill her anyway.
Yeah.
But Grue was just making it clear, nope, I'm not negotiating.
Right. This is not a hostage negotiation.
Yeah. And Taylor thinks I don't know that I could have done that, even though I recognize that trying to negotiate for her life would probably result in a worse outcome for everyone.
Yeah.
It's that sort of Grue is able to be utilitarian in that moment, able to be very practical in a way that Taylor isn't sure she'd have for herself, despite the fact that she has done some vicious things towards their enemies, towards villains. She, I think, has a little bit of the heroes, refusing to turn on allies, refusing to turn on innocents, that...
Yeah, it's...
Not overlapping groups in this case.
Well, right, it's interesting. It illustrates a weakness in seeing yourself as a hero. Yeah. And it also calls into question, for me... the difference between Taylor seeing buildings getting blown up on TV and feeling I have to do something about this, and being in the moment of a life and death situation in a battle and being actually, it's not as easy. This decision isn't easy, right? Being faced with the reality of, this particular innocent person who's super injured and I actually have no way of helping right now. The gray area deepens.
Yeah, though it seems in both cases, she is inclined to choose help the innocents or help my ally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure this is really a contrast, because she wanted to save the innocent people, and she would have wanted to protect this woman.
Right.
And she's saying, like, Grue is making a different call. I recognize that's probably the practical call right now, but she still has that, like, no, have to save the hostage, have to save the victim.
Right. I guess what's different is that faced with it up close, in this moment, she is recognizing it.
Yeah.
In a way that she didn't recognize it when she was more to remove and when she was arguing with Brian about it. That to me feels like the difference.
That might be true, but it's also pretty different to say, like, oh, Purity is attacking a bunch of innocent people and probably a lot of them are dying. We should do something, versus, like, this ally of mine who I entered battle with is in a difficult situation that I probably couldn't save her from should I try. The practicalities of it are so different. I'm not sure it makes sense as a comparison. I don't know.
I totally agree with what you're saying. But I think that is the point I'm trying to make. Mm-hmm. It's almost the, like, I feel like when I think about Taylor, I'm like, oh, she values the life of innocence so highly, or sort of that kind of thing. And then when you think about a given situation and what you should do or not do, it's so much harder to think about it in terms of an all-encompassing, like, ethical stance, or to be like, true. Oh, I'm going to do the thing that's in line with my values. And I think what is true about Taylor is that she is fundamentally as pragmatic as Brian is. Like, in this moment, she's recognizing, oh, I get it. Like, sort of, I get it. She
can recognize the conflict between her pragmatism and her idealism.
She's not the kind of person who's going to be like, oh, well, there must have been a way. There must have been a way. There must have been a way to do this that was in line with what I think was the right, just world outcome.
That's true. I do think, though, that an interesting way to look at the situation where she's watching Purity shooting people on TV, though, is she's saying, let's go in and fight. She's willing to risk Brian's life, her other teammates' lives, to help stop that, which is similar in this situation to being willing to risk this hostage's life to further their goal of making it out alive and then stopping Purity. So
that's a really good point. That's a really, really good point.
It feels different.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of, maybe it's even just subtext, but sort of coldness of like, well, it's one of Coil's soldiers, and she, like, it would suck if that was me in that situation, but this is sort of the cost of,
I really feel like Coil's soldiers are in danger of being red-shirted by the narrative. I don't know if the narrative is red-shirting them, but reading them, I feel like they're red shirts.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are a lot of them. We don't know their names. We don't know that they have powers. They aren't distinct from each other, even though we have our favorite... Herman Snipes, whose name I just
whenever
forgotten.
I reference one of them, I'm like, oh, quote-unquote paramedic, Coil soldier, medic.
Right, we don't even know their
fighter
names.
Type, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like a threat to me to have their lives be in danger.
To be fair, they both survive.
Yes, that is true.
As did the previous two.
That's true, actually. The body count in this is relatively low.
Yeah.
Mostly that one kid in the ABB.
Yeah.
And a lot of innocent victims.
Yeah.
Who we don't really meet. And potentially Bakuda and Leung.
Right. On the other hand, though, we did get a little bit of an escalation. I really liked this detail where Hookwolf is smart enough to realize that this is not the Undersiders. This is the Undersiders and Coil working together.
Right. So now Empire 88 knows.
Hookwolf seems awful, sadistic, monster type. It's nice that he's also smart enough to put that together. It makes him scarier.
True. Yeah, that is true.
And also the thing where, like, Empire 88 is like, oh yeah, we're gonna go blow up the blockades. Like, we're ready to fight. It does feel like, as Purity was saying, this is going to be worse than the fight against the ABB.
Yeah.
Right? Like, things are not...
I mean, the gang members themselves are all capes.
Yeah.
Totally
it's
different.
Pretty alarming.
It's interesting. Hookwolf has this power of, what does Taylor call it? Like, something about, like...
Ferrokinetic shape-shifting.
Great terms. It overlaps strongly with Kaiser's power.
Yeah.
Hookwolf seems to be able to do it with his own body, which I guess actually gives him an advantage because it means his body isn't vulnerable in a fight the way Kaiser's presumably would be.
Yeah.
I mean, Kaiser can armor himself, but he still has the flesh and blood. So Hookwolf seems sort of like a stronger Kaiser. It's possible that Kaiser can do things with metal on a scale that Hookwolf can't. Like, we did see him, like, generating huge things of metal in the air when he was fighting Leung. So So maybe they're a little bit balanced there, but there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wonder if that's like, does Kaiser feel competitive with Hookwolf? Does he feel like, oh, I like this guy, he has powers like mine? Like, I'm curious about how that impacts the dynamics of the
and
the gang.
Yeah, we don't know. I do like the idea of, the sort of internal rivalries. We certainly have seen that between Purity and Kaiser. So that is sort of an interesting dynamic in a very large group of capes. Like, Leung didn't have that many capes working for him. We haven't seen what the relationship with Oni Lee was like, but the one between Leung and Bakuda was pretty testy.
Yeah.
If Kaiser's working with like a dozen other capes, that's a lot of people to manage.
That's really true.
That's an interesting thing to keep an eye on.
That's why he wants Purity by his side, because she is very easily manipulated by him and incredibly strong. Right.
And like what Hookwolf's ambition here is he wants to go fight Bitch. Right. Like that seems to be what he's into is hurting people. And that was his backstory. I don't think we talked about it in the last chapter, but his backstory was like he's was in an underground cape fighting ring, and he just had a reputation for taking things too far, and he sort of got embraced by Empire 88. And Taylor's unclear if like he even ideology is part of it, or it's just like this is a gang where he has a license to do violence.
It makes sense that if you're someone who's like sadistic and likes violence and doesn't really care about how you hurt people as long as you have fun doing it, then if someone's like, and also your race is the best, you'd be like, sure. And also it's true that if like a hate group takes you in and you like become fully part, like you're going to adopt that philosophy like that.
And I'm not to defend Hookwolf in any way. He's a bad dude. But despite being such a sadistic brute, the fact that he's a little clever as well makes him
definitely
scarier.
I also have in my notes that both Hookwolf and Storm Tiger are sort of Wolverine. Hookwolf, because he has this like metal, it's under his skin. I thought it was like in his body. It turns out it like replaces his body. I don't know if he exactly has healing, but I guess he can restore his body when he's done being metal. And Storm Tiger, because he has this power that's totally unrelated to having claws, but like his power allows him to have claws.
He's a Wolverine fan.
Exactly.
That's very funny. Right, his powers are the storm half, and he's choosing to be the tiger, but he could have been a storm anything.
Exactly. But Storm Tiger's, what is it? A tank?
It's a tank, yeah. Speaking of aesthetics, I really liked that Cricket has size, and that reminds me of like a cricket's legs. Like I feel like that was also very in keeping with that chosen name. I guess one non-power thing that I really liked about the beginning of the chapter is that Taylor basically tries to verbally de-escalate, like, right away. She's like, oh yeah, well, we're, just trying to lay low. We got the news at the same time. It wasn't us. We're just, like, we don't want to fight. And again, it plays into kind of what you were saying earlier, that they're like, yeah, whatever. Like, they don't listen to her. They don't really respond. But I feel like, to her credit, she's basically being honest and not, like, trying to, start something. It's a decent move, even though it doesn't pay off for her.
Yeah, these aren't really the sit down and have a chat type of villains.
Yeah. And I guess she manages to stall a little bit, get them talking a little bit, which is good.
Should we talk about some Undersider dynamics?
Yes. This is another bit that I just loved. When they get to the meeting spot, they walk inside this old boarded up church. Regent was perched on the lip of the stage beneath the altar. Tattletale sat on the back of one of the benches, her feet resting on the seat. Bitch paced at the rear of the church, the point farthest from the front door, and her dogs moved like gargantuan silhouettes in the darkness of the aisles. If it weren't for the light filtering in between the plywood on the windows, I wasn't sure I would have known they were there.
Very October.
Yes.
Very appropriate.
I love it. I can picture it. They're all framed so well in my mind.
Yes. Okay, I have so many feelings about Regent now after the revelation of his backstory.
Distracted, disaffected Regent.
Yes! She says, Regent spoke in his characteristic, distracted, disaffected manner. I have so much more insight into this now. This is one of the first times we're seeing him after that revelation. I'm like, oh, of course, this is like a defense mechanism he developed growing up with someone who where you don't want to draw attention, you don't want to have strong reactions, you want to seem like you don't care about anything because he's in this incredibly abusive environment.
His father believes that he owns and controls all emotion. Right?
Yes. Yeah, he can't show emotions. I want a redemption arc for him so badly. Because, like, he's someone who could just be a real villain. Could just, grow up and take what was done to him in childhood and further it in the world. And, I mean, maybe not exactly, but at least, become a terrible person.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that he has the chance to turn away from that and develop a new side of himself and become someone...
With a heart like Taylor, the Undersiders, how could he not?
Well, he's the one person that Taylor hasn't really connected with on the Undersiders. And she hasn't had a lot of opportunity, but she hasn't made a point to connect with him. And I think he's someone who she would maybe have the most trouble connecting with of the whole group. She and Lisa got along right away. She and Grue have this sort of natural rapport where their personalities really connect, and Grue's always been really nice to her. Bitch is a real challenge, but Taylor has this unique insight into Bitch and this determination to connect to her. And I think Alec, she probably does have a lot of sympathy for after his story, but I feel like there's a little bit of almost a bullying vibe there where, like, he's kind of a cool kid and she, I think, would feel like she doesn't have any traction there. He kind of calls her dork.
Right, and he's, it's clear to me that he's teasing her in the way that you tease someone you like, but she doesn't take it that well. Like, she's gotten a little bit more relaxed about it, maybe, but especially the first few times, she really was defensive and not playing along.
Yeah. So Brian and Lisa are both older than her and are both very nice to her. So that's pretty easy. With Bitch, there was more of an adversarial dynamic from the beginning, and she started connecting with Bitch more once she figured out that, like, oh, she really can't read me. Okay, she's at this major disadvantage. And Alec, I feel like they still haven't figured out the power dynamic there. They're about the same age. Alec predates her, but he thinks she's a lot smarter. Like, it's unclear. It hasn't really shaken out.
Yeah.
And there's no strong commonality.
We don't have an in yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's a good observation.
So those are my Alec feelings. I really want something better for him.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see more from him and Taylor together.
Presumably
soon.
We'll see something more from him.
Yeah.
He won't disappear. So I was also thinking about this moment with Grue. Grue says, like, hope Cricket isn't the type to put poison on her weapon. Taylor's horrified and, like, Tattletale's like, no, there's no poison. But Taylor's still like, my heartbeat was still cranked up a notch from that momentary alarm. And then so she gathers up the medical stuff. She's going to sew up Grue's wounds. She says, I saw Grue's skull visor pointed at me. Was he looking at me? What was he thinking? What expression was on his face?
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, that could be a moment of, he's like, is she too concerned because she has feelings for me? Could be what's going on. Could be what he says next, which is, I'm thinking Guerrilla Strikes, he's sort of advocating for attacking Purity, which was not his initial reaction to what was going on.
Yeah.
Initially, when he heard what was going on, he's like, this isn't our fight. Like, other people will take care of it. Taylor did convince him that, like, no, we have to do this. But, like, I wonder if in that moment he is trying to decide, should I live up to Taylor's vision for me? Should I do the thing that Taylor thinks is the right thing to do in this situation? And then he is the first person to advocate for, like, we should take them down in this way.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess they're all here to take them down anyway, but...
I love that. I mean, I don't know if I have a strong take on actually what is going on with Brian, but just to tease out some of what's happening here, right?
Yeah.
It's another half in and out of costume moment, right? Because his shirt's off, right? Because they're stitching up his chest that got cut up by Cricket. And so, like, Taylor has been kind of half in costume for several chapters now. This is another, it's Brian and it's Grue at the same time. Obviously, it's a flip of, like, he was patching up her ear, now she's patching up his chest. I guess it's a little sad that all of the Wounded Warrior stuff is happening after
I know
the friend zoning.
Have some hurt comfort.
In particular, with his helmet on, she can't see his smile or hear his voice.
Oh, I forgot that she couldn't hear his voice.
Things that she likes about him the most.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's
so
right.
So this is a real
really
distancing situation between the two of them. And so just even in this moment that Taylor's reflecting on this newfound distance between them.
That feels so symbolic that she feels close to Brian the person, but she feels distanced from Grue the villain.
Yeah, and I love what you were saying about maybe in this moment he's trying to be more connected to her, but having his helmet on is the same way his power works, where when he's covering people in darkness, he can see everything and they can't see him.
Can't see him.
So even if Brian is trying to reach out in this moment, Taylor can't see that he's doing that.
I wonder if there is a character element for him. I don't know that we've seen this, but it could be there and we just haven't gotten a chance to observe it yet. It feels suggested by his power where he can tell what's going on with other people, but he doesn't let them see what's going on with him.
Yeah.
So he can sort of feel, he almost has like one-way relationships with people.
Yeah.
I was going to say parasocial. It's not what it is, but it reminds me of that. Sort of he can feel like he's close to people, but they don't get to feel like they're close to him.
Interesting, yeah. How do you square that with his choice
I don't have anything to hide.
Share, right, his I don't have anything to hide, his choice to share his trigger event.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like what we've seen so far. It's more just an element that would be suggested by his power, so I wonder if it'll come into play, but it's not really what we've seen from him.
Yeah, there is a piece of, like with the social worker, he cares so much about his image and how people see him, and that is something that he puts a lot of time into. So
that's more practical than
But
defensive.
It could also, my pitch for being defensive is more like the one-way relationship thing is like, to what extent is he going out of his way to appear
forthright,
approachable, a very calculated kind of authenticity because he's managing the way people see him versus letting people sort of see a more true Brian.
That doesn't quite feel right to me. He doesn't feel like someone who calculates his every move. I mean, he is certainly trying really hard for the social worker for obvious reasons, but it feels like if he is hiding parts of himself from Taylor, from just people when he interacts with them in general, it feels to me like it would be more instinctive, like a product of his upbringing, like just something inherent in him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say calculated.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I feel like someone like Lisa is someone who I think thinks a lot more about like how she presents herself. She has her tattletale persona and her Lisa persona with like the different hair and the different styling, and it's all very intentional. I would imagine for Brian, the way that he wants people to see him is very instinctual. And I can relate a lot to the idea of like being uncomfortable, asserting an identity that sticks out in some way versus being very good at just kind of blending into a social situation, and not in a way where I'm like, I'm trying to hide who I am. It's more just like oh, well, I know how to get by, right? Yeah. Like I can just put other people at ease and just seem very calm and reasonable. And
yeah, that's interesting.
That's easier than,
Yeah, but we did, he shared his trigger event story, and he does say a lot that he's nothing to hide. So I don't know. I think we'll have to see more from him. Maybe he'll let Taylor in more in the future.
Maybe. I love the insight. It hadn't occurred to me the mirroring what we've seen from them over the past few chapters, but just that he's trying to reach out to Taylor and just like she can't see it in this moment. That's like a very strong
trying to reach out to Taylor.
Trying to live up to
to live up to what she thinks of him. Yeah. I'd be surprised if that weren't a strong element in their dynamic going forward.
Yeah.
Where Taylor has such strong principles and she has a lot of respect for Brian, and he's like, oh crap, I'm not as good a person as she thinks I am.
Yeah.
But he wants to be as good a person as she thinks he is.
The other thing I like about this, her patching him up, is like she's just as bossy. Like we've seen Brian kind of like bossing her around.
The balance,
but right. She is willing to fight back. She is not, ironically, skittish around him, right? Like she's totally focused on, being her role as a teammate. And like when it came up last chapter, she's like, no, we're not talking about that again. That stuff on the bus, that stuff in the bookstore. Nope.
Yep. One undersider note. Regent says, don't take a bet with Tattle. She cheats. Tattle! I love it. It's so cute. I love it so much. What a great nickname.
It's really good.
So we end the chapter with Tattletale saying, I hear what you're saying about guerrilla tactics. You're too wiped out for that. And what we actually need to do is go straight for purity. We have a limited window of opportunity. So there's some specific opportunity Tattletale thinks they should take advantage of. I'm so excited to see what it is.
I mean, it could be something else, but I think it's also that they have a limited window of opportunity before the docks has been leveled.
That's also fair. Yeah. But I suspect there's some specific opportunity.
Rereading it, I think you're right. Yeah.
I love this direct approach. I'm so excited to see it. I am really looking forward to seeing them go up against Purity, who has just been set up as like one of the most powerful capes in the city.
Yeah.
Which was hinted at before, but we hadn't realized. It's like she's faster than everyone except Dauntless and Velocity, and she's stronger than either of them.
Yeah, so how when?
How win? Win well. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I know I should be predicting what happens, but I'm just excited to see what Wildbow sets up for us. I'm sure it's going to be really fun.
I also like that, like, there's not really a cliffhanger at the end of this chapter. It just ends on a moment of anticipation.
Yes.
And I'm excited that, I don't know how much pressure you feel writing a serialized story to be like, well, there has to be a real cliffhanger every chapter. But, like, I'm so invested in, like, the arc.
Oh, yeah.
That it's like, oh, this is great.
Well,
this is a great place to take a break.
Like,
and then,
they're not literally in the middle of action, but there's such a strong promise of action to come.
Exactly.
It's like the chapter that ended with, like, okay, we're going to go attack the gala.
Yeah.
We're going to go attack Purity. I kind of want them to take a similar approach, actually. I want them to, like, go up the top of a tall building with the dogs and, like, jump on top of her. Just because we've just seen them do that. I don't know, maybe that would make it repetitive, but now they have that trick and they can use it again.
Yes. Yeah. A pounce. It's the one thing she won't see coming.
All right, well, let me think about each of their powers versus Purity. I mean, Lisa obviously can figure stuff out about her.
Yeah.
We have a strong sense of her motivation already, so it'll be interesting to see what Lisa figures out, but she'll know, stuff about her powers. I do wonder, Purity has this light. I wonder if how that will interact with Grue's darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Would it dampen her abilities, actually? Mm-hmm. Or would her light shine right through the darkness? I don't know. Taylor, I guess, could be relatively effective. We don't have the sense that Purity is, like, impervious or a non-human body. Her light might burn the bugs away if she's kind of glowing. I don't know if the bugs can get through that.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. It is similar to Hookwolf, I guess, is like, does she turn into light? Like, she's blinding. You can't see her when she's in her Purity form, right? She's just kind of a blinding beacon, shining out, all over
I think she's both a particle and a wave. She's both herself and light.
Right. So right. Is there a there for the bugs to get into?
Yeah.
I think we don't know.
Yeah, or even if there is the light too intense? Does it, like, burn them away?
Right.
So that's a question. No reason Regent shouldn't be effective.
Yeah.
He might actually be really useful against her.
Yeah.
And the dogs, I mean, I think the dogs would be pretty harmed by the power, and it also seems like she's really fast. So combat with the dogs, not sure how well they can do. But at least maybe the dogs, who are very fast, could help them keep up with Purity.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
They're big, they're strong.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I think I'm still on Grue's side of, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Oh, yeah, no. They're clearly going to have, like, a very clever plan.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah. Excited to find out.
Yeah. I did want to note, before we move on, I was thinking about the thing where Aster gets taken.
Mm-hmm.
And how it was, like, kind of a weird, quick move for the heroes, the human authorities. We don't exactly know who initiated it. And I was kind of wondering, I don't know if this makes sense or if I even want this to be true. If, like, Aster is a baby born of two very powerful capes. If there's some, like, specific, like, oh, we want her specifically. Like, there's something about her.
Yeah. We've heard that second generation capes are powerful.
Yeah, so maybe it's just, oh, she's a kid of two capes. Let's get her so she can be on our side.
Or maybe what we've heard is that their trigger events aren't as bad, or
their trigger events aren't as bad. But it does seem like powers run in families.
Yeah.
Or at least having a power runs in families.
Yeah.
Glory Girl's pretty strong. So it might just be, they're like, ooh, an opportunity to get a baby who's going to grow up to be a cape probably, and we can have her be on our side instead of part of Empire 88. And I also, and this is the part I don't really want to be true, it might be that there's something, like, special about Aster, but I feel like that almost plays into the hands of the white supremacy thing where it's like, she's a perfect white baby and therefore she's extra special genetically. It's like, I don't really want that to be a thing.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's true of her and a lot of other babies who are born from two capes, then that
if she's one of many people in a baby snatching program, then that's much better.
That's good. She's
the special princess.
Exactly. So what we want here is a widespread baby snatching program. That's what we're rooting for.
Right.
All right. This is something I meant to say last time and forgot about. There's the thing in the last chapter when Lisa says something about Purity's like mama bear instincts being triggered. It kind of clicked for me that like, oh yeah, this is a like woman motivated solely by child thing, which it's not that there aren't people like that. It's not that it's a narrative you can't give to women or something. But there was something when I saw that was a little like, ooh, this is now a woman who's like defined solely by her love of her child. And that just feels very, very, I don't know, stereotypical in the way that like mothers are often flattened into their motherhood.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm like, oh, it would have been more fun to have like it be a man who's like super motivated by the loss of his child.
Right. Yeah. Let's see Max out there, making the same threats.
He doesn't care about anyone or anything.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. But Purity has this element where it's like all she cares about is her child, and that just totally activates all of her rage things. And she's basically like not a person, but a mother here.
Well, right. And it is an interesting, I feel like one thing you run into sometimes with like trying to lean into a three-dimensional portrayal in one direction is you end up with sort of something that's a little more cliched in another direction, because you have like, sympathetic villain, and like, well, what is it about her that's so sympathetic? It's like,
she cares this much about her child.
That she's a mom, and then it ends up being, or like maybe that's a little bit of what the predisposition and tropiness of it lets us get pulled in the Purity chapter, where we're like, oh, she's a mom. Like you sort of have that reaction.
Yeah.
In a way that, not that you couldn't do it with a gender swap, but is a lot.
You certainly can. I mean, Dresden Files does it really well with gender swap.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I think that's a good observation.
Yeah, something that pinged for me a little bit.
Yeah, would love to see more sympathetic villain dads destroy whole cities. That's what I'm saying.
Widespread baby snatching, sympathetic villain dads who destroy everything. That's what we need. I do think I want them to defeat Purity. That's what I want. I just think it would be so fun.
Okay.
We've gotten enough wins from them that now I'm getting cocky. I'm like, I want to see them do more cool things. They took down Armsmaster. Now they're going to take down Purity.
I love it.
I want it all.
I love it.
I want Taylor
Undersiders, undefeated.
Yeah. I want Taylor to fly a poison bug into Purity's eye and end it all.
Great. Yeah, let's just do all the greatest
Except
hits.
I want her to do it in a cool new
Jump
way
off a building
that I haven't thought of yet.
With a poison bug.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very good.
Are there any cape names in the next chapter?
There are no
We've gotten
new
so many
cape names.
Yeah, how could there be new ones?
But I'll tell you how it starts.
Okay.
You going to be okay, I asked, as Grue
climbed onto the back of a dog. I think we're going to start, like, at the beginning of their attack on Purity. Like, they're moving out. We're not going to see anything else. We're just going to...
Could be true.
Yeah. I'm starting to get a sense, which will probably mislead me in a lot of ways, of, like, Wild Bow's, like, rhythms and stuff. Like, kind of what I expect.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that means I'll be, like,
getting
shocked
lured
and disappointed.
into a false sense of security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the one where they'll die and I'll get arrested.
Yeah.
Both things. They'll die and then get arrested.
Yeah. We haven't heard at all about the jail for Cape Ghosts.
Yeah, you can't be the birdcage because they just go right through the bars.
Yes. Sounds great. Until next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.